Good morning, everybody. Dave Schmidt along with Matt Nestor and producer Tom Warren. A little foggy out there. Got some calls at 75. A little
20,
bit icy.
Yeah, 75 and 20.
Yeah, if you don't want to be in the Olympics, you don't want to be ice skating out there today. Just be careful because you could hit a patch anywhere right now.
Yeah, you really
it's
can.
Kind of weird. But it is a little foggy out there. Let's talk some basketball. We've been talking about it, now we can officially talk about it. We have Matt Parker, from the Rockford City Schools. He's over the whole athletic system at Rockford Schools. And this year they're bringing in the 205 Tip-Off Classic. It starts Monday night over at East. And first of all, Matt, I can't wait for the basketball season to start.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me on. We're very excited as well for the boys' season to start, especially with this tournament coming to fruition and getting ready to go on Monday.
You know, I look at the schedule here. How much work did it take to put together what appears to be a potentially very loaded field?
Well, we've been working on it for over a year, and I was looking yesterday as I was kind of wrapping up some of the paperwork as we were stuffing the gift bags and kind of doing the final run through of the checklist, and just had a stack of papers of notes and phone calls, different schools we've talked to, and so yeah, it's been just over a year of work and a lot of work and a lot of time and effort, and but we think it's going to be a really good thing for our schools and our teams and our community, and we're really excited about it.
You know, I know you have two teams from out of state, Milwaukee Vincent and Indianapolis Pike. How much extra work is that for you guys? Have to get approval from both associations to bring them into Illinois? Is there some paperwork you have to do on that?
Yeah, have to get approval from both associations, and you know, with the different calendars as far as start dates and things like that. There were different, you know, things we had to be aware of that we're not normally aware of as far as scheduling and how many games can be scheduled and things of that nature. So learned a lot and had to do a little more research and just take a few more things into consideration, but we're able to do that, so everything's good to go.
You know, I look at a field like this, and you guys have a potential for probably a lot of fans coming through those two schools over the next week. You know, is this something where if it takes off, you know, I know there could be potentially other scheduling issues, but have you looked at, you know, maybe in the future trying to find a bigger venue like a Rock Valley or you know, even the BMO Center there?
Yeah, we've talked about both. We even met with BMO several times, talking about, you know, if depending on how big the tournament got and depending on who's coming in, we had talked about having the evening session of the Saturday night games at BMO. So yeah, those are things to consider, that we've considered, and even with Rock Valley College and our relationship with them being so positive and doing a lot of collaborating with the Rumble and the Rock and lots of different other events, you know, we certainly would consider that venue as well. You know, both venues are terrific places to have events, and so they're busy as well, and of course need to consider with BMO, their money makers first, and with RVC, their programming for their students first. So, but we definitely considered both, and will continue to in the future.
Well, and you talked real quick about, you know, how big this got, because that's something you talked about in the past is, you know, trying to expand it beyond, you know, just the kind of field you have right now, correct?
Yeah, we've talked about, you know, how big, because we've had, you know, a lot of phone calls for interest for next year, and so we've talked about how big we want the varsity portion to get, and also if we want to add a lower level, maybe a sophomore tournament with the same teams that would run congruently in the field house, you know, with Auburn being done and both Guilford and East, you know, on schedule to be done very soon. So, you know, we've talked about both of those options for the future, but we're just not really sure exactly which direction we're going to go. The main driving force really is a couple things. One, you know, we really want it to be a high quality tournament here in town, and two, we don't want our Nick 10 schools to play each other in this tournament. They really want, you know, Brian and Roy really wanted to not only play non-Nick 10 schools, but play schools that they don't normally see and play and encounter throughout the season and throughout the region.
You know, I know some states have extended their basketball schedule. I think Indiana and Ohio added 2 a season they can have. That has to help a little bit because some schools have to scramble to find those extra games. Did you find any of that while you were talking to out-of-state schools?
We didn't find any of that scrambling for extra games, but we did find that because tournament, especially in Wisconsin, there's been some pretty serious tournament restrictions as far as how many games played. That there's that seems to be a hot topic as far as wanting to expand the ability to play more games in a tournament setting than has historically been in the past. But we really haven't found teams scrambling for games except for one school in the suburbs who had called actually a few weeks ago because a team had pulled out in the Chicago area of the tournament they were in, and they were only going to have 2 games in their tournament, so they were looking to jump ship and go to another tournament. But as far as adding games or not being able to find games, that's something we haven't encountered with the basketball.
I think you've accomplished your goal in having a very loaded field here. You're a basketball coach. Is there 1 or 2 games you look at when you look at the schedule here and say, that's a game I want to make sure I get there for?
Well, obviously everybody's real curious about Indianapolis Pike. They have a very rich history. They have several former players who are playing at the highest level in the NBA now, and have some outstanding young players that are Division I recruits. So very interested in seeing them play. And also Elgin Larkin is a very, very good ball club, and looking forward to seeing them play as well. But I think, really looking at the field, I think all the games are going to be very competitive. We're going to see several kids who are going to have bright futures on to the next level that we're going to be watching on TV in a few years, even next year. And so that's going to be fun as well. It's kind of getting to know their games and seeing some different teams from outside of the area and outside of the state who are very good programs.
We're talking with Rockford City Schools Director of Athletics, Matt Parker, about the 205 Tip-Off Classic. Starts this Monday over at East High School.
When you put the schedule together for this, other than having the Nick 10 teams avoid each other, do you kind of look at the different teams and say, okay, I want to see those 2 teams play and put them together that way, or do you just kind of throw names into a hat and just kind of pick some games?
No, it wasn't thrown in a hat, and it had nothing to do with what I wanted to see. It was all based on what coaches wanted and programs wanted. And so, there were specific schools who said, we want to play. We definitely want to play the 2 Rockford schools. Mm-hmm. There were schools who said we want to play this school, and we want it to be the a premier time in the evening, a 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock game in the evening. And then, of course, taking into consideration what our 3 Nick 10 coaches wanted, which was, we don't want to see each other at all in this tournament. So it was all based on coach preference, coach desire, and we were able to honor all of those requests. And so that's really what drove the schedule.
Well, thanks, Matt, for taking time today. Good luck. I know we'll be out there for some of the games trying to find it. Lots of stuff going on, but happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and always appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, happy holidays, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah, all over the place.
We've been talking with Matt Parker, the athletic director at Rockford Schools. It's a lot of work. I don't think people realize, you just don't say, okay, we're going to bring in some teams and we're going to play like that stuff with the state stuff.
Yeah.
They like you to fill out those forms, and I know Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Indiana have different ways of doing that.
And you got some high-profile teams coming in. You're running it at 2 different venues. I mean, that's going to be it's going to be a busy, busy week for Matt Parker.
It's good.
He's not going to rest for the holidays, that's for sure.
Good for high school basketball.
Yes, it is. I love it.
We'll see you next week here on the State Line Sports Hour. If you're out there today, be careful. And thanks for listening to News Talk 1440 WROK.